If you would have told me a year ago that this would be the third season in a row that had substantial changes and content addition to the main game of Overwatch, I probably would have laughed at you, especially considering that this is a season that is right before the halfway point, right? I like to think of it as February has a really big season, and then August will have a really big season. And then those in-between ones, they might have some stuff, but not nearly as big. When you look at the list of things that happened this season, there was a lot, and a lot of it is not insignificant. That is season 17. It is like, how are we still keeping up with the amount of stuff we're getting? How is there so much more on the horizon in season 18? For real, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming in season 18 in this video. Typically I wouldn't, but there is so much stuff that I actually am just like dumbfounded with how much they are able to give us. So with that being said, what is the thesis for season 17? I don't understand. Like, there's just, again, so much that happened. I cannot believe, like, I think they must have added more talent into the dev team. I think they're just allotted more money now because they really are doing a big push. And I think it's great overall, even if I don't necessarily like everything that they're doing. I think just being able to get all these changes and additions is always a net benefit. So season 17 was also great, even if it wasn't perfect. I'm having a great time. I think a lot of people are. I think that's really what matters. So of course, with that being said, let's go on to the actual stuff that happened in season 17. I'm going to start with something that I actually haven't talked about on this channel yet, and that is Aatlis. Finally, literally almost 2 years later, Flashpoint has gotten another map. Aatlis, set in Morocco. What do I think about it? I don't know. It's really a strange one. Like, I think Aatlis is a fun map. I've enjoyed my time on it, but it is a lot different compared to Surabasa and New Junk City. It is a lot more maze-like. There are a lot of small corridors, tight areas, you know. This is the Brawl map. There is no way you can play anything else here, in my opinion. There are so many curves and corners and little nooks and crannies. Like, this is not a dive or spam map. This is Brawl as we know it. So what do I actually think about the map? Well, I think overall, all the points are pretty unique. I do like a lot of them. There's some interesting things where you can do some of the points. You can kind of hold back and play backside of point and kind of bunker there. Other points you really need to go on the offensive and to be a lot more aggressive to prevent them from getting any kind of space at all. Each point has its own unique identity, and there's not like one particular play style that you do on any given point. They're weird. I don't really know what to think about them overall. I think a lot of people don't like this map because there's just so much going on. I find it endearing. I think only time will tell how much I really like this map once it's more figured out as we go. As someone who likes to try and force venture in places where they don't work very well, Aatlis has been really fun for me this season because I get to play venture, and I wholeheartedly believe that this is their best map. You can unburrow anywhere you want, and there will always be something protecting you, covering you. Again, there's a little nook and cranny anywhere for them to hide out and do an engage, especially this season when they've got like Covered in Dirt, which is bugged, and the I'll say it, the best miner in the game, their ult change, I think is crazy. Like, they are so good on this map. I've had fun. I know some people don't like Venture, so maybe not everyone had as much fun as me, but I've had fun on Aatlis. I don't know exactly where I stand on it as a map. Sticking on Flashpoint here, I want to talk about the Flashpoint reworks. I actually have not talked about these either. I was going to. I filmed something right before they went away, just talking about what I liked and didn't like about the old versions and what I wanted changed. Never ended up seeing the light of day. Maybe I'll release that later as just like a time capsule thing. But for right now, the Flashpoint reworks, in my opinion, and this is maybe a hot take, I really don't think Flashpoint needed proper reworks like they got. However, I think they have been super beneficial. So Suravasa first. I think Suravasa was already a really good map, and it just made it even better, specifically because I think they did a lot more of an art pass rather than just like a gameplay pass. Now, of course, there are more places to get around. There's less awkward like areas where you can get stuck. You have a lot more options to get to some of these points. It just makes the map feel a lot more fluid and a little more dynamic. I think that is definitely a good thing. I think I like most of the changes that they made, especially to that one point with the frogs now, where you can actually use the top entrance. I hated that whenever you tried to go up there, it was just like the death tunnel. It was awful. I'm really glad that they ironed that out. The rest of the points are good. They really haven't been tweaked too much, and I think that's a pretty good thing. So overall, awesome. Suravasa, great. New Junk is a bit of a different story. New Junk definitely needed this rework a lot. I remember I was watching Frogger's video and he said it went from an F tier map to a C tier map. I never thought New Junk was that bad, although I do think it was definitely leaving a little bit to be desired, I would say. I think that New Junk is a lot better now as well. Again, specifically the art pass does a lot for not only the map itself, but I think the aesthetic is just a lot more pleasing. There's a lot more like colors in the map, and that makes playing it, you know where you are a little more often. It feels better. The only thing is that a lot of areas in New Junk City now feel empty. They feel flat and like there wasn't enough detail added. I think about the one, I think it might be the ducks. It's the purple point where they've added this whole like outside area and just kind of like smoothed out the rest of the map. I don't know how to describe it. I'll probably show it to you on screen. It's weird. Also like the bomb point. The bomb point is like really flat and these bombs are just kind of like scattered randomly throughout. Like it doesn't feel as cohesive from like an actual like level design standpoint. Not to say like it's bad. It just visually doesn't look correct, if that makes sense. That's only like one or two places on the map. The rest of the work they did, I think, was really good. Changing up like the actual geometry of it, for the most part, I think worked really well as well. Kept a lot of the identity of it while still like kind of ironing out some really awkward, weird points. I think it was a net positive. Neither New Junk nor Suravasa are any like significantly better. I never thought they were that bad to begin with, but you know, these map reworks that kind of change some things and make some of the maps a little more tolerable are like always welcomed in my opinion. So yes, I think the Flashpoint reworks were absolutely a success. For map voting, you guys know I made a video on it like a week or two after it came into the game. I'm not going to retread here, but I think that my initial fears were kind of validated after playing this season, especially because, and you know what, I'm going to say it, I think I boosted myself playing this season because I play a lot of stuff. I play all roles. I play most of the heroes in every role. I can play any style I need to, right? I mean, I like Overwatch as a game. I don't like particular characters or whatever. I benefit from map voting a lot because I will have my strengths, but even if I'm on a map that is my weakness, it's not an actual weakness. So map voting has definitely been boosting me, especially with hero bans, because even if I'm on a map that I hate, like a sniper map or something, I don't have to deal with the snipers. I reached my peak Masters 3 on DPS of all things, which I just literally don't understand because I've been a support and tank player forever, and somehow my DPS has gotten a little higher than most of them, probably because I end up playing a lot more DPS. I don't really know why. Map voting, I've played a lot of the same maps, and when you don't play a map that's the same, like, you know, you get like a roll of triple abysmal dog shit maps, then it just feels really bad. Like I'm still kind of like, God, I wish there was more variety. I don't think I've played on like Pariso once, and I think a lot of people hate that map. I don't like despise it by any means, but I don't think it's amazing. But like, for not having like played on it once over a whole season where I put like close to 200 games in comp, that's a problem, I think. Like that's actually like legitimately an issue. I do think that they need to like pump the gas a little bit, or pull the gas, whatever, pump the brakes, whatever you do. I don't know cars, man. I know I live in America, but I hate those things. They need to chill out on the agency. I think you can have a little less agency and keep the map voting. Overall, you know, watch that video if you're interested. I don't like map voting. I think I said I liked it in the video. I have turned on it. I'm not really a fan of it right now. All right, before going into all these extra stuff, I have forgotten the past couple times to do these to talk about the theme, the Battle Pass theme, the general theme for the season. This one, it was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like hacked or like kind of like video game-y-ish / like tech hacker. Can I just say, you know, no disrespect to the art team or anything like that. I just think that it's kind of a dog shit aesthetic. I do not like Bloxel. I think it looks really dumb. I just don't understand when you make video games and then you create a theme that it's like somebody who has never played in a video game in their life would like think is what video games look like. Like, I don't know. I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like the skins. The other like sub theme, the academia one, I just think is pretty boring in my opinion. Like, the skins are fine, whatever. The themes this season, I did not vibe with at all. Definitely not my thing. Listen, you're more than welcome to like them. Like, I do think there's like nothing wrong with it. I found that these skins were just kind of like a lot of different random elements just kind of thrown together. Like, when I look at the skins, they're just not cohesive at all to my brain. Like, they just, I don't know, they don't work for me. So I'm not going to complain too much. Like, they're there for like 2 months and then we get a whole new refresh. So like, what's wrong with that, right? Like, there's nothing wrong and it's over now. So that's great. Actually, I might as well move on here to the limited time game mode that we got because it's directly related to the season. That is Hacks and Hijinks. I did not like this game mode. I forgot to get footage for it, so sorry about that. But I think I despised every single game I played of it. It did not work like I thought it would. The random modifiers ranged from almost unusable to overbearing for certain characters that at some point I was like, okay, man, like, I'm just here for my loot boxes and then I am out. Like, once I got all my loot boxes, I just quit cold turkey. Like, I really did not enjoy this game mode. It was only here for like a week or two and it's gone. I doubt it will come back. Maybe we'll see some of those modifiers when Halloween comes back around. Maybe they'll do something like that. I don't think that's a problem. I think it's just the problems with the modifiers themselves not being a good list rather than the core of the game mode. Does that make sense? All right, let's talk about Stadium, because I guess I'm going to have to keep talking about Stadium every single time we do one of these things. I, full disclosure, did not put a lot of time into Stadium this season. Maybe like 2 or 3 hours total. I only played the new heroes, and I gotta say that I can't wait for the hero draft in Stadium. Now, I'll talk about that later, pitchforks away, but I really did not have a good time this season trying out these new characters. Mainly, probably because I didn't play until a couple weeks in, and so I was still bronze. So there were 2 things that happened that were really making me not very like happy. One was that I would just win 3-0 a bunch on like maybe like Sigma or Zen or whoever, and then I wouldn't get to like try their builds. You know what I mean? Like, I would play all these games where I could never like get into these full actually like well realized characters. Like, I just had like Sigma who just did some more damage or like threw more hyperspheres and like the game ended and like that's it. Or like, I don't even remember Zen's powers because I might maybe played him one time. What really pissed me off this season was like multiple times where I tried to play Junkrat. I did not win a single game. So I was bronze whatever, the lowest bronze that you can be, bronze 5 or whatever. I cannot believe that a character can be so bad and like I can't experiment at all. I'm trying to play these funny builds, you know, trying to try something different, you know, like, oh, they've got this build where Junkrat becomes kind of like a bomber plane, right? Like something like that where you kind of jump in and hit him with concussion and you've got like total mayhem falling and you just kind of like flying above you, right? I think that's a really fun idea. Every time I tried to do it, it was like 0-3 dead, the worst thing I possibly could have done. And that's where a lot of Stadium feels like really bad, is that even at none elo, although there's probably MMR, but like even at bronze nothing, you can't experiment. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying this stuff and it'd be like, okay, I'm going to try this build. Doesn't work. Okay, I want to try that build again. Oh, I'm sorry. They have Diva Mercy Freya on their team. No, sorry. And I'm like, dude, I think it's fine that I like should be able to or have to plan around the other team and plan around that stuff. But again, I am literally at the bottom of the ladder because I just haven't played. Surely I can just try one of the silly builds and win one round. You know what I mean? So I feel like the balance of that character in particular, or just how Stadium works, is not suitable for being creative now that people know what to do and what to play. And I think that is like a major problem going forward, especially as it gets like, you know, further and further away from the actual launch of Stadium. I said earlier that I was maybe going to do like a Stadium critique. If I am going to do that, don't expect it anytime soon, but I still do want to try. But that would require me to go back in and play a lot of Stadium to make sure I'm like up to date and like really saying something that's not like egregiously untrue. So that's going to be like take some time. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but watch these end of season videos and you'll definitely keep getting my thoughts about like the blanket surface level take of where Stadium is at for me in particular. We got 2 collabs this season. Collab number 1 was G.I. Joe. I do not give a shit about G.I. Joe. They looked fine. The skins were okay. Sure, whatever. No game mode, no free skin. At this point, we just kind of had to expect it. Whatever. It just kind of came and went, did nothing for me. The other collab was the Nerf collab. Now, if you know me, I'm pretty anti like weapon skin. I don't like individual weapon skins just for a multitude of reasons. I think the skins looked good. There were some silly ones like the Genji one with the bat and all of that. I liked the cast like actual skin a lot. And I did like that not only was there a free skin, but there also was like a silly unlock like condition to get it, and I thought that was really cool, like having to get a certain amount of eliminations to get the gun. That's fun. More of that. I think that is like really nice. It doesn't have to be for collabs too. Like if they want to just do like beginning of season, if you get, you know, 50 final blows, you get something like that. I think that's actually like more fun. I know that they don't want you to be like farming to try and get rewards, but like getting 100 elims is just playing the game, right? So like I feel like that's not a problem. You know, if you keep it broad enough, you can have some of these like somewhat specific conditions that don't like throw off the loop of the game. So yeah, I thought that was fun. Again, I don't really care about the collabs themselves. They weren't my thing, but I think they were okay. And we got like a free one. So I'll take it. That's nice. So we got 2 graphics that I want to talk about because this is like updates from the dev team. It's not something that's like specifically about the season, but I think it's interesting insight. So what you're going to see first is the average map vote scores for all the maps. You know, I'm sure we all saw this, but they basically say, hey, below Masters, this is what's picked more. Above Masters, this is what is picked more, right? The TLDR is that, you know, the Control, Flashpoint, and Push are picked a lot more at the higher ranks, while Hybrid and Escort are picked at the lower ranks. I am not going to go into like all of the why this is. You know, I think Spylo made a video and other people have made a video explaining it. So I'm not going to like retread that ground. But can I just say, you know, a little vindicated, just a little bit, just a little. Okay. I did point this out early. You know, I'm not alone in that, but we did point it out early, and the data does back it up. If you're lower ranked and you like Hybrid and Escort, I'm not going to tell you not to, right? Or if you're higher ranked, if you like these map types in general, I'm not going to tell you not to. Just because I'm higher ranked based on the chart, you know, does not mean my opinion is more valid than you. But at the same time, you know, I feel like there is some branching out to be done, right? Like, go into these maps with a little more of an open mind. Flashpoint's been completely reworked. Push maps have gotten a lot better since launch. Try to go in and see, like, the good in the maps, right? Because it's easy to, like, spot the bad and, like, the parts that are harder to get through and to like. And I have to do the same thing, right? Like, I have a bit of a hatred for a lot of the Hybrid and Escort maps. There are definitely parts about them that I like. I just kind of need to see that more. That is the map vote score. You know, it's not anything to dwell on, but it is interesting that they gave us these stats in the first place. On top of that, they did give us rank distribution updates, and this was really surprising to me because typically they like to have a bit of a bell curve, maybe with a small left skew, you know, where more people are in the lower ranks rather than the high ranks, you know, like the median, the middle of it skews a little more to the left rather than like higher. And I think that's fine. You know, apparently a lot of games, you know, since they start you at the bottom, it works like all the way up to the left. Like the most people are in bronze, then silver, then gold, and so on and so forth. Overwatch, I think, is a better solution for the most part because it's like hard to be in bronze, you know, in some regards. In fact, looking at the data, it's actually more impressive to be in bronze than it is to be in masters by percentages, which is kind of funny. With that being said, I think it is telling, this graph, now that we know what their plans are for season 18 about how the matchmaker is going to work and how competitive progress is going to be distributed, which we'll talk about a little later, that they want to bring more people up because Diamond and above is not even 20% of the player base, like including Diamond. Once you get out of Diamond, like you're not even looking at 5%. You're looking at like 3.5%, which I think that is great for, as somebody who wants to continue to get better and to like strive for a goal, because then when you hit those milestones, it feels really good, right? Every time you rank up, you go, oh my God, I'm that much better than, you know, before. You know, like I'm Masters 3 on DPS right now. So I might be somewhere in like the top, you know, let's be generous, right? 2% of players on ladder, right? That's cool. And then like if I can make it to Masters 2 or Masters 1, then at that point I might be in like the top 1% of players. That is an endearing climb. That is really interesting to me. That is something that goes, okay, I don't know how to describe it, right? Like, you get that feeling you have something to work for. There's a drive there. When they push it up more, when there's more people in the higher ranks, it doesn't feel as good. I think a lot of people start to diminish your achievements. We all know this from like season 3 or 4 onwards to season 9, right? Where if you hit GM, it was like you were basically diamond, you know? And to be fair, there is some like validity in that statement about like where like how it classifies you does not necessarily mean like the skill level has changed at all, right? Your skill level hasn't really changed. It's just how the game tells you like where you are, right? Like there is a reason, and I can understand them wanting to have maybe a couple more people in like champ or maybe grandmaster kind of, but pushing more people higher I think is not a great solution overall, because you are going to start getting that like, well, you know, you're only here because they made it easier. And well, even though you made it all the way to GM, like you didn't do it in season 17, right? You did it in season 18. Right now is a great balance that I don't think they should touch. Like, I really don't think that they should touch it. If you want to get better, if you want to rank up, you legitimately have to put in the work to do it. I think that is the best way that a ranked system should work. Very quickly, the OWCS partner bundles finally came out, and they are underwhelming. There's only like 3 skins per team. There is some extra like sprays and stuff that I think a lot of people like, but overall, I did not get any of the team specific ones because I just didn't really like what they offered. I got the Mercy skin just because I like helping the prize pool. I think that is just something good to do all the time. Also, those tend to be a lot more limited time because they're kind of more exclusive to events and stuff. So I like getting those as well for that reason. I hope the OWCS partner bundles maybe have some more unique stuff in them that isn't just like a spray. Although the sprays are cool because they're specifically about like, you know, the team themselves or like players on it, which is cool. But I think there should be a little bit more to it to incentivize people to actually support the teams rather than just going, hey, you're like a really big super fan, you'll buy this just because you'll buy it. I feel like you need to get people who aren't going to buy it originally to go, hey, that's actually really cool. I want to buy that, and then maybe go support that team in the OWCS. I think the only way to do that is individual unique skins. If they could at least do some epics, that could be nicer. But I understand that that is a lot of work, and it is not particularly reasonable to expect that for all of the teams because they have like 8 or 10 partnered teams. So as always, I do like to talk about the meta state, the balance of the season. This season, I feel like, was defined by bugs. Block/armor bug, venture bug, Zarya bug. There was a lot. And I'm sure there are some that I'm missing here, but bugs do make characters more powerful, right? And I did talk about this a little bit, and since they have now revealed that the block armor bug has been in the game since the beginning of season 16, I feel like, again, they couldn't just remove it cold turkey because those characters' power levels were so like ingrained there. Oh, the Ramatra grenade bug as well, that was there. But the character power level was so ingrained, like, you know, Ramatra's power was so reliant on some of those bugs, and he is getting shot next season, which is crazy. It's like hard to just like hot fix those out of the game because it's not as simple as just we'll remove this and like the game will go back to normal. Like they were balancing around those bugs without really knowing it. It's good that it's gone. It's good that we have more changes around it. In fact, there's a lot more nerfs to the characters that benefited from that armor bug. But, you know, it sucks that like bugs had to define this season. And hopefully that won't happen again, but let's be real, you know, like it's just how the process works with how fast the development cycles are. Things do slip through the cracks. Just be vocal about it. Hopefully we catch it early. You know, if something seems fishy, go test it, go sound the alarm. We need the Paul Reveres in the community. The other balance, you know, it's just that we're in this like weird sim meta. If you're playing on ladder, you're not going to be running into sim because she's not great on ladder. But I thought the season meta was fine, mainly because like even with Ramatra being crazy powerful, I banned him in like most of the games I played, regardless of what role. It was just like not fun to play him. So like that is part of the thing. Like I think hero bans have done a really good job of keeping, you know, they're allowed to work on all this extra stuff without having to halt and fix everything, except for that server issue, which again, I talked about. I was like, hey, whenever server issues happen, or like big bugs like that, they have to stop and put all the resources into it. That literally happened a couple days ago. Yeah, you got to see the pipeline of like how they fix bugs work in action over the past week, which I think is really funny because I made that video about it. And finally, Wooyoung. Not going to talk a lot about his hero trial because you can hear all about that in my most recent video. That has done really well, thank you guys. But what I will say is that his buffs have come out for next season. This is going to be my transition into talking about the future, talking about season 18. But Wooyoung has gotten a lot of nice quality of life buffs and not any particular like actual real substantial character buffs, some of which I talked about. One, his rushing torrent is faster on startup, so you get like a higher burst of speed right away. I said that. I talked about that. I'm sure other people did too. But that was one that I particularly wanted to see. Also with rushing torrent, it goes further when you jump. Like your jump height is higher, which means you get to use it for actually like more interesting ways. I also talked about that. I feel really good about that. I do. Another couple things like his wave. I can't remember if they reduced the cast time, but they made it so that it drops off ledges, which I think is a really good quality of life change. His self ult is faster. I didn't necessarily think they needed to do that. We'll see if that's actually like a lot more broken than we think. Putting it at like maybe 0.7 seconds in between the 0.6 it's going to be and the 0.8 that it was might be the sweet spot, but we'll see how he feels. I don't remember every single change. There were a couple more, but yeah, I'm actually really excited. They are buffs to him, yes, but they feel a lot more quality of life than like substantial like power buffs. And I think that is perfect for what this character needed. So that is great. So moving forward into season 18, I want to talk about the lesser talked about things so far that I think are going to matter a lot. The first time user experience is getting updated. Basically, there's less games required to play comp and more all heroes actually available to you at launch. Now, a lot of people are afraid of second accounts coming in, you know, Smurf problems, freshies. I do understand that, but it is more important to get people to play the game and be able to play whoever they want right away and the way that they want to, right? Because you retain more people if they're allowed to get their hands on the video game to the way that they want to play it as fast as possible, right? If somebody sees Echo and they go, I love this character. This character looks so cool. They see some gameplay of her. And then they come to play the game and they find out that they need to wait X amount of time before they can even try that hero. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, you know, to keep those people, right? Overwatch, and honestly, I don't think they need to do this at this point, but Overwatch is trying to expand and get more people to play or specifically come back. And making that easier is better for the bottom line, more so than it is to keep accounts of people who just play a bunch and a bunch. And, you know, they've got like other ways to stop it, like, you know, the phone number requirement and everything. It hasn't stopped it in the past. I think they're just trying to find a middle ground of like, how can we make the new user experience as good as possible while preventing as many of those fresh accounts as we can. That is a hard tightrope to navigate. So let's continue to give them feedback. If there are more like fresh accounts like popping in, I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of complaints from people. They might figure out a different solution there. The progression system updates and the character individual skill rankings are kind of crazy to me. I'm of the opinion that I don't think Overwatch should focus on encouraging you to play one character. And these kind of like hero, like, oh, I'm this level hero or I'm like this ranked hero, does encourage that to a point. However, I do think that this also encourages you to try other people, because as the returns are more diminished as you go higher and higher leveled on a character, you're going to earn less loot boxes or sprays or anything like that, whatever it's going to be. So if you want more loot boxes or stuff like that, then you go try other heroes and you play them for a considerable amount of time to get those rewards. So you learn them better, you understand them better. Maybe you don't end up playing them a lot, but you know how to play against them. I actually do think that if this is like balanced correctly with the correct kind of rewards and incentives, you're going to get a lot of people trying and playing characters that they normally wouldn't have. And I think it could be a better experience for everyone involved. Now, of course, the rewards have to be nice and juicy. Loot boxes, maybe currency, you know, not just skins. Although they are like making it so that like skins are on like the progression tracks, the ones that would have been paid for. And if you already had them, they're going to kind of like refund you or something like that. That is amazing. I think that's great. Always having like progress to work towards, I think is really, really cool. I'm optimistic that this can be a net positive, although I am really weary that it might just encourage people to continue to only play one or two characters like vehemently, you know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm going to keep an eye out about how they've implemented this, but I want to give them the benefit of the doubt here. I think that this could be a really good addition. Stadium draft. Let's talk about Stadium. Guys, I know there's a lot of people right now that say that this is going to kill Stadium, and I do think a lot of people are going to get system shocked when they can't always play their character that they like. However, you are playing a competitive mode, and one that is extremely character dependent, even more so than regular Overwatch. With the way the builds work, you cannot typically build to completely counter other comps because you are sacrificing the effectiveness of your character. And it just, for the most part, for a lot of times, does not work. So it's very easy to lose on the character select screen. Like that example earlier where I queued into Diva, Freya, Mercy on Junkrat. Like, what am I going to do there, right? Now, you have options to not only counter characters and then get countered yourself, right? That's the point of the snake draft, right? Is that you're going to see, oh, I see they pick Diva, I'm going to pick Zarya. But then the next person goes, oh, they pick Zarya, I'm going to pick Freya or a sniper or something like that. That will make Zarya's life more like harder. And then, okay, you know, so they picked the Freya, then I'm going to pick the hit scan, right? That is how the snake draft works, because everyone has like weaknesses and strengths. And so when it gives you the agency to balance those out, right? So you're not going to completely eliminate counters to your characters, but you're always going to have something to do against the other characters if you've picked correctly, right? Before, it's like I could lose on character select completely randomly. Now it's I can lose on character select because I don't know how to select characters and I don't know how to play other characters. I don't think it's a bad thing for you to be able to or have to play other things. I'm not the Stadium crowd, so like that might be the unpopular opinion, but again, you are playing a ranked mode and they added a quick play mode so you don't have to do that. Now, I do think it's not a great solution to have like the ranked mode be the precedent for 4 months and then go, okay, by the way, if you want to play your character all the time, just go play quick play. you know, you've gotten so used to ranked and everything. I think that is not a great solution. They probably should have launched with quick play and then added comp with more restrictions. I think that would have been the better way to introduce this. But I do think that, at least for me, the stadium is going to feel a lot more enticing with a draft, especially one that can't be mirrored. I think that actually makes it interesting. Yes, a lot of people are like, what if they pick the broken character? Well, then you pick the characters that counter the broken character. You can pick 2 and guarantee that you'll have them on your team, rather than they pick the broken character and we randomly did not have the characters that would be good against them. Do you know what I mean? We'll keep an eye on that. Again, there's a lot of keeping an eye out on stuff. I'm going to play a little more Stadium this season, see how it is, and then maybe formulate my greater thoughts on Stadium as a whole. And, you know, there's a couple of characters that are getting added that I like. I like Brig, I like Winston, I like Tracer, Pharah, you know, whatever. But, yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out. Lever forgiveness and general trying to bring more players up into certain ranks. I don't like this. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but the reason I don't like lever forgiveness in particular is that it's going to inflate everyone. What do I mean by this? Well, I want you to think, and it's not going to be added to comp right away, so they might change it and change how it works. And apparently it's not as effective at higher ranks, which will stop like actual win trading up there, hopefully. But the reason I don't like this in general is, think of it like this, right? As it stands right now, levers are going to happen everywhere, right? But everyone gets penalties for levers, or like they lose rank for levers. Obviously, they don't get like a lever penalty because that keeps the rank system in check, you know? Think of it like this, right? Everyone in the winning team gets like the same percentage up as the losing team gets the same percentage down, within a little bit of like wiggle room, right? There might be some discrepancies, but not much. However, now when you add in lever penalties, you have a bunch of games now that are only going to have benefits for certain characters, or players rather, and no downsides to the other team. So overall, when you look at every single game being played of Overwatch, there is now an imbalance where overall there's more rank giving out than there is rank being taken away. You know what I mean? So that will artificially inflate the entire pool of people. I don't think that's a good thing. I know you're like, okay, I have a lever, so whatever. But like, if there are no penalties for levers, now people just don't try when there's a lever. There's no reason to like even be in the game anymore. Like, if you had a lever, you could wait for them to come back and everything like that. But now it's just like, well, why would I even like attempt to try and win the game? Because win or lose, it doesn't matter. There's a reason that these systems don't exist, right? There's a reason that they never had this in the first place. And I think that this is just going to have bad effects overall for the game. And combine that with it being easier to get into Masters and Grandmaster and Champion, then there's just going to be even more like inflation of ranks and everything. And I just don't think it's a great idea. It does suck when you have a lever on your team, but it is a fact of the game. It's going to happen. You just kind of have to take it. I feel like this is going to be a lot better for Stadium, the way that system is more lenient. And I have a feeling that it won't actually end up being pushed into regular comp. I think it will be fine for Stadium, but I think in regular comp, that is a really, really bad idea. So, oh my God, that was long. That's it. I'm looking forward to Season 18. There's so much happening in Season 18, but looking at 17, a lot of stuff also still happened in 17 for a calm before the storm season, right? I thought Season 18 wasn't going to have too much, and then the director update came out, and I was like, oh my God, they are literally making the game higher quality of life. There's just so much like extra features they're adding. I'm not a fan of everything, but I'm excited to see where they go from here, and I'm impressed that they're able to keep the amount of content up, ready, interesting, exciting. It's really impressive stuff, even if they've had a couple missteps along the way, even if they've missed a couple bugs. Season 17 is a good look for the future of these seasons that aren't supposed to be as exciting. You know what I mean? The seasons that precede really big events and big seasons can still have a lot of stuff to do and still be really solid. That bodes really well for the future, because you think people are having a lot of fun now, they're going to have a lot more fun when they add a bunch of new stuff as well, right? So it's just great all around, and it keeps the game fresh and exciting throughout the entire cycle of the year. It's great. It's good. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It is just what we need. Awesome. Cool. Can't never complain about that. So that's season 17. Let's go. Great. And of course, that is the video. Please like, subscribe, do any of that stuff. I will be live on Tuesday at 3 p.m. EST, and I will be playing and probably talking a lot about the new perks. I don't exactly know if I'll have a video out because I'm going on vacation the next day, so I probably won't have time to make it. But if you want to see those thoughts live, that is there, twitch.tv/LaneHemingway. And going forward, I'm going to start streaming more, but also streaming with brainstorming ideas for videos, talking specifically about things in those videos. And if you ever want to put your input in a video, in something that's preventing me from making a mistake before it happens, please stop by my streams, go to my Discord. I will announce when those streams are happening. I'm going to say what we're talking about and everything like that, and what I'm going to be kind of formulating my head around. Sometimes I'll film directly on stream. Other times I'll just be starting to write scripts and getting your guys' opinions alive. If you want to stop me from making gigantic mistakes, that is the place to do it. Join my Discord down below. Keep up to date with all of that. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and please have a good day.